Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I'm here again today with Ollie. We felt we would like to record another video for our conscious conversation mini series.
Yeah.
Because there was something in our consciousness that wanted to express itself. We were going to talk about the apocalypse today and what in this current time we live in, there's lots of people out there talking about the apocalypse, and we found it to be interesting maybe to share what we perceive that to be and how we even experience the apocalypse, and maybe you can relate. So yeah, would you like to say something?
Well, I mean, I'm sure for many people, ourselves included, the current experience or what people are experiencing, maybe like out in the world, but also like within themselves, is a general sense of like an ending or something coming to an end. I think it's important to talk about or to clarify like what the apocalypse actually is. At least like how we would interpret it.
Yeah.
Because I think apocalypse kind of maybe has like biblical connotations. It has something kind of like dark and ominous and potentially sort of oppressive, which is actually not the true reality of what an apocalypse actually is. So yeah, maybe, I don't know, I'm a bit...
maybe it's something that it's hard to know where to start with, because it's more of a, I would say, general feeling that many of us have.
Yeah.
That we're close, like you said, to some kind of ending. Well, maybe I can briefly talk about my own conclusions, if you want me to.
Of course.
That I think for a long time I've been living with this maybe even mindset since my spiritual awakening, that we are here as human beings to assist with some kind of shift. The term New Earth comes to mind, and that our own shifting consciousness, which it does in a way, contributes to this global shift, from like these old three-dimensional structures being in place to raise the frequency, and so that humanity can step into something more conscious. We can unite around a more truthful reality here. And I think I've been holding this let's call it paradigm up to a certain standard for a while, until around the end of last year I had a very, very profound experience with a psychedelic, and I actually felt like I was enabled to step into like a deeper truth. This whole agenda around creating New Earth together is maybe something that some of us, in a way it's true, but in another way it's also not true, because what the energies and the frequencies of the planet actually told me during this experience was that we're actually coming to an end now, and the way we know Gaia, this planet, to be is ending. And that's, I think, an experience we actually shared at the time, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like this almost like as if the voice would have said, now you're ready to actually learn the deeper truth of it all, because it's actually ending. I would almost say humanity as we know it is actually about to end.
Yeah, I would totally agree with everything that you said. And of course, like you mentioned, we kind of shared in that experience together.
Yeah.
I think we had towards the end of last year, was it? sort of starting, I think, really, I would say towards the end of last summer, coming into like last autumn, quite a few like paradigm shifting experiences. We both had a series of like individual and also shared psychedelic experiences that led to, I think, a few paradigms and actually illusions falling away.
Yeah.
And I feel, like you said, one of the big ones was the belief or the idea that like this new earth that maybe many people or people who I maybe would have maybe identified with being like a light worker or a starseed or just partaking in this ascension process would have previously maybe believed, ourselves included, that we were kind of building something here on planet Earth, you know, with Gaia, with the human race, you know, whether that would take the form of like a new way of living or a new sort of more communal way of being, or even, you know, this darkness or this evil that has sort of infected this planet and still in a way persists would fall away, and it would be this kind of
rejoicing.
Shift into this kind of like Eden-like reality that we all know to be possible at the core, and kind of maybe what the Earth used to be like, and what the human race used to be like before this outside interference. I'm not sure if we talked about this outside interference in detail in previous videos, but I think there was a notion that we were holding, that maybe people who are watching this video maybe still hold, or maybe it's falling away, that there would be this new Earth on Earth in this frequency, in this density.
Yeah.
But now, more so, at least what I sense, is that dream or that vision is actually dying.
Yeah.
And the planet is going through a process of like breakdown, where consciousness is sort of withdrawing itself from the human race. That Gaia is sort of gathering her resources within herself.
Yeah.
And that on a more deep esoteric level, you know, most of our consciousness is actually there with her, preparing for this shift actually away from the planet.
Yeah.
So
you could say also, you could call it a cleansing, maybe.
Purification.
Yeah. And I feel, I wanna basically.
No, go ahead. I mean, I was saying a lot there, but basically, I think it's almost like a necessary
maturing. I feel it's like a maturing into this, maybe letting go of the belief that human beings create new Earth, which in our most recent experience isn't the case. It's the planet herself. She purifies herself, and what that will look like, you know, we can't, who can really say in detail, you know, but it's I think we pretty much have clarity that the human race isn't gonna do it. But bottom line, you know, the human race isn't going to you know, change the course all of a sudden.
It's not a responsibility, and I think that was a big insight that you had and that you shared with me, which maybe you want to talk about, that actually it's always been the planet, it's always been Mother Earth or Gaia that's actually been driving the whole evolutionary process to begin with. Like, she has the first and the last say, and I think one of the big illusions which you know, most humans I think have taken on is that we have some sort of well, we do have a responsibility. I was going to say we don't have responsibility, but ultimately she's more powerful than us. So if she decides that it's not serving her evolution, or the evolution of the human race, and also, you know, all of the life that's expressing itself here on this planet, then she will put a stop to that. And it's not because the human race has done anything wrong necessarily. I see it also being very much linked to the persistence of this parasite, which is like infiltrated and infected the minds of many human beings, and it's that which is responsible for all of the suffering, really.
Can I just refer to our latest video then, when you talked about the parasite that has infiltrated so many human beings' minds? We talked about the old earth matrix and the hive mind then, to give a bit more of an understanding what is maybe what you're referring to. It's pretty much that, you know, like a hive mind infection of something that's not really them, their true selves. You know?
I mean, it's sort of like people in history, and I guess sort of still currently are kind of caught in this sort of like illusion that maybe would have been referred to as like Maya or samsara, and that's like the illusion that's kind of coming to an end now. But it's not like doom and gloom. Like I guess you could say, to maybe go back to the beginning with the word we used, apocalypse. Like the apocalypse really is the end of samsara. It's like, actually, it's not something negative. It's actually something in a way positive. Perhaps it didn't always have to be that way. Maybe at some point there was a potential that the human race would have made it, and we could have unified, and we could have found like peace here on earth.
Certain timelines would have maybe enabled that.
I feel there was always that possibility and that hope, but for
even
us,
within ourselves, until only lately, you know, recently, you know.
But when you, I don't know, when you connect that deeper truth that is revealing itself now, that actually that's not the way it's going to be, then I guess maybe like questions that start to arise. Well, what is going to happen now? You know, like what happens to all of the souls? What happens to all of the light that's on this planet if it's not going to maintain itself here? You know, what happens next? Because, I mean, this isn't to say that we are authorities on this or anything like that. Like, you know, if this doesn't resonate, then just leave it. But we're just talking from our experiences and having gone pretty deep. And having to actually really question what we've been believing, and certain hopes and dreams for a future on Earth dying away. Has brought us to this place actually where we've accepted that, I suppose.
And it's also, in a way, maybe that's something you can relate to. It's also, in a way, lived experience, I find. Because how many times are we navigating what you would call the matrix? You know, you go somewhere, you drive somewhere, public places, towns, cities, and every time after an experience like that, we're saying the same thing. We say it's a dying world. We're living in a dying world. You know, the structures in place, what you see unfolding. You know, I'm not just talking about AI and you know, that's one aspect, but I'm also talking about the way people live, what people value, you know, let alone the crap that's being considered music these days, which actually probably has some sort of, you know, codes in there to create negativity. You know, all of these things you can sense very much when you navigate this world, that it's a dying world. You know, it's nothing, it's dead, it's hollow. To me, energetically, it's nothing that's thriving. You know, I don't know how you guys feel, but maybe you would agree on that. or the level, we talk about that often, the level of deception that we're dealing with on this planet. Human beings, this system that we live in is designed to constantly deceive us, down to the smallest thing, like you're going to a supermarket and you buy something that looks one size, and you're actually paying for 50% of air because it's not even filled. Everything out there is designed to deceive the human being. So all of these lived experiences and notions, they contribute to this notion that it's a dying world we live in, and that the planet herself, when you connect with her on a very deep level, she's finished with that a long time ago. But it becomes more and more tangible that she's finished with what human beings basically have maintained for way too long. She's finished. And that's maybe more to what we refer to when we use the word apocalypse. Not in the biblical sense. It's gonna start raining some weird stuff at some point.
That's another level to it.
But no, it's not like the using the word apocalypse isn't to be understood so much in the biblical sense here, but more in this notion and lived experience every day, And also the disconnect. That's something that really saddens me over and over again. That, we're pretty much living nomadic right now, and we have encounters with human beings, but human beings do not connect anymore. We are strangers to one another. We're doing the opposite of unification. It's all, it kind of makes sense when it's a very lived experience for us.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure it's not universal to say that people aren't connecting.
Yeah.
Like, there are people connecting around the world all the time, but I think it's important to maybe ask or inquire into what are people actually connecting and uniting around. And I think that for the most part, what people are uniting around isn't something that is maintainable. At the most dense and hollow end of the spectrum, people are uniting around the discovery of AI, or uniting around their latest achievement at work, or uniting around
illusion, actually.
Some sort of toxic family dynamic.
Yeah, right.
And I think for anyone who's maybe gone through a spiritual awakening or is going through a spiritual awakening, really at the core, what we can unite around that's maintainable is, it's our soul, and it's the planet. It's always kind of meant to be that. It's always meant to have been that way. We unite around consciousness and life and being part of this dance and interaction that goes on between each other as divine beings and the planet as a divine being. And it's that which I don't really sense or see happening.
No.
Even if people try, we've had experiences with communities, and we've had experiences with kind of more off-grid living.
Yeah.
People who are looking for ways to come together and connect to the earth.
Yeah.
And it's not like we are trying to put a negative spin on things, but just in our lived experience, what often seems to happen is kind of the conditioning in people's minds seems to sort of get in the way of that,
or people's shadows playing themselves out because there's something they haven't addressed with themselves, but then they think the community somewhat can heal that.
Or they come to the community looking for something.
Yeah.
Or to take something from that experience, but then wounding can get involved and people's shadows can sort of come to the surface, and then the foundation, or what should be at the core of that experience, which is like, you know, the divinity and the relationship to the earth, falls away.
Yeah.
And I think it's, you know, it's obviously quite a complex topic to talk about, but at the core is the earth, and the beginning, I would say, of this sort of transition, you know, this ending, or this apocalypse, or this cleansing, or this purification, however you want to refer to it, is starting to happen now, and it's happening in our experience on the internal planes. You might call that like on the quantum level. It's already happening. You know, Gaia is already starting her process of disidentification from matter, from the physical. You know, she's a being like we are beings. She has a soul, and she's starting to leave, the transition away, and you know, we have to follow suit. You know, we're not given life without her. You know, she gives us life and she takes life. You know, she has the final say. And it's that feminine principle, which is where all the power, you know, lies and resides, and she'll take us and guide us where we actually need to go, and you know, we serve her and she serves us, and that process of disidentification from matter is starting to happen. And I feel that, again, to come back to this parasite, I don't know if we've directly addressed it in videos, but
maybe not.
You know, that's probably something to talk about more specifically. But in our understanding and our direct experience, and also through our, you know, connecting with other people who have done lots of, you know, research into sort of these more esoteric fields, there's a force that lives in Saturn that that has basically taken it upon itself to try to control the human population and subjugate and suppress the powers of the earth and the feminine, and you know, has warped and twisted the ways in which the human race perceives, and has basically made us fight against each other.
Has infiltrated all the, you know, so-called official structures as we know them on this planet.
Yeah. And you know, you may be familiar with, like, you know, people talking about reptilian shapeshifters and grey aliens. You know, in my experience, experience of having direct encounters with this force, you know, speaking from direct experience, not just from what I've read, you know, this evil presence does exist. And you know, whilst that force is maintained through our energy, it's actually, maybe it would be useful, I think, at some point to make a video about that, because
so maybe an extra topic.
You know, it's through human suffering, basically, in a short description, it's through human suffering that this force maintains itself through you know, low frequency energy that we generate. And it can only be through the withdrawal of consciousness and the human race not being maintained. That this evil also diminishes, because it's taking away. It's like you take away the host from the virus. So it's not just a process of.
It's not just a process of fighting it, but basically Gaia needs to remove almost the humans or the vessels, so that it can't express itself much longer.
Exactly.
Is that it? Yeah.
Because it's gone on for such a long time, and I feel like this is my sort of intuitive perspective that, you know, the beings in the celestial realms and the beings of the Galactic Federation, beings from the different star systems, and the volunteer network, as well as, you know, the beings from the inner earth and Gaia, have given the human race like plenty of space and time to actually try to work this out, to basically try to evolve beyond the grip of this parasite, and to overcome oppression actually through unification. I think maybe I can't say it any other way, but maybe the best possible outcome would have been that the human race rediscovered who they actually were, that we are infinite beings, and came together and united around that. And then as a consequence, this force could no longer use our energy, because we actually raised our frequency above it. We were no longer existing in fear or any other low frequency state. But I feel that, that window has ended.
Yeah, that was another clear message from, I think, one of the powerful psychedelic experiences last year that had to do with timelines.
Yeah.
That there were certain timelines in which the human race could have managed this shift. Mm-hmm. I think I talked about, I think the last window, from my perception, was the 60s and 70s, where there was like a wave movement of new high vibrational consciousness coming. And for many people, it was a lived experience to think that we were going to make the shift now, but it didn't happen. So, and from my brief experience now here on Earth since the late 80s, I can say that my esoteric understanding is that the latest window would have been that. But like you said, the timeline is a different one now, in which the human race by themselves, they won't make that turn. They won't make that shift.
Yeah. I would agree with that, everything you said. And there has been, I think, like a significant momentum, and, people who were connected to truth held that vision of unification, like so many people did in, like you said, the 60s and the 70s. They united around actually, peace, love, joy, bliss, sensuality, freedom of expression. There was so many alternative ideas. But then again, what did you see? You saw the extension and expression of this evil force, basically like, coming down like super hard to try to limit that expression, and
the counter movement again.
In a way, it did and didn't, because that, the fact that time period and what happened there existed, it shifted so much in the collective consciousness.
Yeah.
But in a way, I kind of fail to see how anything of a similar quality has ever happened since.
No.
Maybe since, like, I think 2020 or since 2012, but then 2020 with COVID, there was another, like, very rapid shift where people started to wake up very quickly and also come together because of actually how insane everything was around the world.
Absolutely.
And this parasite could actually be seen for what it was. Clearly, maybe for some people, for the very first time, they could see that what they're dealing with here is non-human. Because it's important to mention, like,
how
this
far
force
this force would go to limit human freedom, and how far they are willing to go.
Yeah, they had to sort of maybe see the lack of empathy and just the quite overt non-human quality that displayed itself, which of course caused a massive awakening. But like you said, with these timelines, I feel that the most positive or productive or beneficial timeline for consciousness right now to evolve is actually in cleansing everything on this planet. That means, in my understanding, inevitably the destruction of the entire ecosystem of this planet by the planet itself. It's not like, there's some like doom and gloom, like horseman of the apocalypse, judgment, okay, you're a sinner, you're going to hell. No, none of that crap.
No, that's biblical.
Because of the love that because of the love that the planet has for all of her creation, including us and the animal kingdom and the plants. She wants that life to express itself in the way that it's the most free and unlimited. And it's not going to be possible for that to happen should this trajectory continue. So it's actually an act of love that the planet is degrading herself, and that matter is starting to break down. Consciousness is withdrawing itself like into the more inner sanctums, and then will leave and transition into these more into these higher planes of experience, which you might understand as like being like the fifth density. That at some point, relatively soon, of course, it's like could be gradual. It could happen very quickly. Like the way it's going to unfold, we can't say, because, well, I don't have the authority to say that for one thing. But there won't be a 3D or a 4D. There won't be a dimension where time exists, where there is matter as we experience it. It will only be like the consciousness here will transition into something of a more celestial quality. That's my understanding anyway, or my intuition.
Yes. So the belief I personally carried for many years, or this notion throughout my awakening, was always like, I can see some point in the future some sort of what we would call apocalypse coming. But then the more mature way is actually to see, wait a minute, it's already here. It's already happening. It's not coming at some point in the future. The breakdown is already happening now. And then I feel like as a consequence of that, maybe the effect of this notion or that knowledge for many of us who would call themselves maybe light workers is this question of, what am I doing here then still? This maybe when you've reached this conclusion, or when you've gone as deep as we did towards the end of last year, what is my purpose here much longer within all of that,
What's the motivation?
What's the motivation?
What's the drive?
And I think
why am I even here? These sort of questions can start to manifest.
And I think we can even agree on sharing that we've had many episodes of, very low energy motivation and drive after you've gone so deep in this with these esoteric insights. It's all subject to decay anyway, so what's the point? But then I think recently we watched a very, very beautiful Terence McKenna video where he talks about this, like the role that every organism plays on this planet so far, although we can agree it's already ended in a way, but there's still some sort of biological chemical purpose that we fulfill here.
Yeah, for sure. Like I just had to smile thinking of Terence then, because he's such a cheeky cosmic dude. It's like we the planet still needs to maintain some sort of homeostatic balance.
Yeah.
So just down to the mere fact that we're like breathing and exchanging gases with like the atmosphere and the planet. We're still an integral part of the ecosystem here. But I feel, and this is through our direct experience as well, it's not just coming across knowledge, it's also directly experiencing these things, that whilst we're here, you're doing more than you're actually, let's say, in your ordinary consciousness aware of. Like just by walking around on this planet, you're interacting with like the ley lines. You go to an energy center, you're maybe sending a certain transmission, or you're passing information to a different layer or compartment within the earth, or
you're seeding light codes, for example. Wherever you go, you leave a blueprint of your light codes that are encoded within your soul imprint.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
So like in a way, I think when you arrive at this sort of realization, and by no means is this saying like you have to agree with what you're saying, or even arrive where we've arrived, and not to say that it's even true what we're saying,
it's just,
but this is just our direct experience. And when you kind of arrive at this place, which can in some ways shatter pre-existing notions as to why you're here, in a way it opens up more of this very beautiful, profound dimension where you're actually assisting Gaia
in this breakdown,
and the other beings in this breakdown, exactly. So you might, we've been aware of like working with, different energy centers on this planet, and working with, crystal structures like we have done recently here in
so
Portugal,
with certain nature
and
devas and
working
beings.
with certain beings, and bringing through celestial energies, and working with like the dragon realm and ley lines, and Pleiadian beings coming through, and other beings that are here to assist with this process. It's actually the death and the cleansing opens up the possibilities that come with this new experience. And if there's anything that you could call a new earth, it's actually where we're all going after this is over.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of maybe, I don't know if that wraps it up, but like the new earth is happening elsewhere. Like it's where we're going now, and the breakdown is part of that ending, so we can go to this new experience really together, and make more experiences, and have more fun, because that's what it's about. It's actually, it brings pain and sadness, of course.
Yes.
Like I noticed throughout talking now that there's a deep pain and sadness that like, whoa, it's really ending. Like
it had to come
the
this
human
far.
experiment is finished.
Yeah, but it's also mostly actually for the planet, and to use Terence's words, after all, she will do like a big sigh of relief, actually. Because for Gaia herself, it's like relieving to have cleansed herself, all of that. And I find for beings like us, for me personally, maybe you would agree, beautiful side effect is that once you've gone that deep, you're also arriving in this realm of non-investment, because human beings or human minds tend to take things very seriously, or they lose themselves, in these like, call it matrixy things. So it's like, for me, it's a big, actually, cord cutting with investment into something that's not sustainable anyway. So with that cord cutting, it also brings actually a lot of liberation whilst you're still in human form, I find.
And also, like, you then sort of prioritize what you actually want to do with your
life force,
with your time here. Like, what do you want to invest your energy in? You know, what things do you want to do to have fun? Also, like you can also enjoy things whilst they're here.
You can use your body whilst you have it. We've been exploring that recently. How all the different ways in which we can explore the body or use it, whilst we still have the opportunity to interface with this density here. Yeah, so I think that we covered everything that we wanted to maybe say about the apocalypse. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I think so. It's like I'm always a bit conscious of like saying kind of what we wanted to say and covering the different points, and sometimes difficult because it's like at the core it's quite simple, but there's always so many different like segues and dimensions that interconnect, and we touched on a few different themes and topics, but I think we kind of said what we wanted to say and felt quite authentic. And
in every video we record, we always say, we need to make an extra video about this like parasitic force we're talking,
but
then we don't get round to because something else seems
also
to be
maybe sometimes you don't want to like give it too much attention,
right.
but also
good point. Yeah,
sometimes I feel it's, at least for my journey anyway, it brings a very important and necessary angle and perspective to understand like the human experience and also trauma and why there's so much suffering on the planet, and also just kind of like the journey consciousness is making to evolve, and you know what this force's agenda is, and like we kind of said in the video, it's in a way it's not the force that causes this ending. It's not like the force is this evil, right?
We always say
all Shakti's realm,
domain,
like the
Shakti's
feminine
realm. She decides.
Has all the power.
Yeah. So if you're still here as a human being, it's because Shakti wills it that you're here. So yeah.
But yeah, maybe we'll make a video on this evil, or the Gnostics call it the demiurge, and the archons. Yeah. Maybe when it seems like when we feel called to do that. Yeah. But yeah, I think we covered everything, and we hope that maybe you took something from this video, or you resonated with it. Maybe it brings up some questions for you.
Please.
Maybe you can leave a comment if you had any sort of questions, just wanted to share your experience from watching this.
Yeah, we're always happy to read comments in the comment section, or your own experiences are always welcome to be shared, and maybe you disagree on certain things with us. That's also okay. Yeah. Maybe there's certain things you resonate with, or you share these experiences. Whatever it is, let us know, and maybe conscious conversation seems to be a nice little occasional sit down together. Yeah,
it's been a while. Like we went through quite a few like
external changes,
and in a way it was actually lots what we've been through the past months has been linked to this kind of like death process, and these insights came with that. So it's been a while since we've made a video, but it was nice to make this today, and
definitely.
I'm sure we'll make more in the future. Should we?
Yeah. Like wrap it up, okay?
Wrap it up.
Then see you next time, and many blessings.
See ya.
Bye-bye.